Welcome to another Saturday night and taking it to the nub. I'm your host, Boston Jimmie. Tonight I have my co-host, Quinton Brown, on with me. He's driving. He was supposed to be here by now, but I-95 caught the best of him. So he'll be here probably after the show, but we'll still sit back, smoke a cigar, have a drink or two. Our guest, Rayon XO, is having some technical difficulties, so hopefully they're going to join the show shortly. But in the meantime, I guess we'll just start talking a few good things, cigar related and Stogie Press related. So Quinton, you missed the show last week. You were busy. You had other things. We had this fantastic show on Thursday with Jesse Flores. You were on that. And why don't you talk about your favorite pairings in the meantime, Quinton?
Yeah, obviously, pairings is a favorite thing to do of mine. It really depends on my location. Obviously, when I am in South Florida or Florida, period, Jimmie, my favorite pairing is cigar and rum, especially in South Florida because it's always so hot. I try to stay away from the bourbons and the different things like that that are really heavy liquors. So I try to do mojitos, rums. Diplomatico is probably my favorite one to pair. Havana Club Select is another great one to pair up with a cigar. So obviously that's my favorite. But one of your favorite, Jimmie, is a good red wine and a cigar.
Yes. Good.
Always a great pairing right there.
Absolutely. Good red wine. And tonight when Kwame, the owner of Rayon XO, gets on, we're going to talk about cognac. Cognac being a derivative of wine, which is always good. I'm not a huge cognac fan, but I don't have any Rayon XO, but the executive gave me a pour here that's a pretty big pour of cognac to go with this fabulous cigar I'm smoking, which they also said to try, which is called Bdp. Okay.
Okay.
Never had this cigar. It's very nice. It's a San Andreas, but they have a special process where they, when they process the leaf, it removes toothiness. No, I'm not too sure if I like the toothiness removed or not. I kind of like toothy because toothy gets the oils popping, but hey,
right.
Each their own, right?
Now, how's that first third shaping up for you, Jimmie?
Not bad. It's got a little bit of a wave on the burn, but other than that, it's pretty solid ash. I mean, not the ash. Yeah, the ash is pretty solid. Nice, pretty solid ash cone. Flavor-wise, got some fruity notes. Definitely has the characteristic of San Andreas coming in right off the front. Very smooth, very smooth retrohale. No bite, no harsh pepper or any of that coming on it. All right, we got Kwame. All righty. We can have a show now. Let me admit Kwame. Kwame! Right.
Hello.
Hey, Kwame. Thanks for joining. I know we have live shows, always fun, always little glitches now and then. No problem. Thank you for joining. I don't know if you know my co-host, Quinton Brown.
Oh, no, I haven't met him, but pleased to meet you, Quinton.
You guys actually had Rayon XO at my home lounge in Charlotte. So we did an event with you guys a couple of months back.
Okay, that's with my brother, Douglas.
Yes.
Excellent.
So I didn't have any Rayon XO, so I have to, say that I've got a different cognac, but it's a cognac night, so we're going to talk cognac and how cognac pairs well with cigars and what cognac is all about.
Okay.
So let's talk about Rayon XO. How did you get into a cognac business?
All right.
Well, it's a high-end liqueur. And it's something that you don't hear everybody jumping into these days. I see tequilas, I saw gins, you get you get bourbons, but you guys went down a different path to cognac. Talk about
Well, I've got to take you back to 2008. Rayon Cognac is the product of low imports. Low imports being the brainchild and the conception of our founder, Ray Sean Lowe. Ray is a Cleveland native. It was he who had the original vision and passion and decided that he wanted to bring in cognac to the States, and he wanted to introduce it into the marketplace. He realized that, you know, he himself enjoyed it, and he knew that there wasn't a lot of competition out there. There were some of the big boys who had most of the market share, and he believed that if he positioned it properly, that he could actually make a splash. So what Ray did at the time, he was working in banking at the same company as our CEO, Ron Jones. He had been talking to a number of different people, and they always let him know that if you're going to do anything internationally in terms of business and you needed a mentor or somebody that you to run it past, you might want to sit down with Ron Jones and pick his brain, because he's a super bright guy, and he's done a lot of good things internationally in terms of business. So Ray and Ron, they're working at the same bank at the time in the Midwest. They happened to have a couple of brief conversations, but because of, you know, family commitments and time and professional commitments, they keep missing one another. They're both members of the same international fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi. So different brothers within the fraternity are letting him know that Ron is definitely the guy if you're going to think about bringing something to market. A couple of, you know, months and years pass. They finally sit down. Ray gets his business plan in front of Ron. Ron gets a chance to actually look it over and then do his own due diligence and some research, and says, you know what, I think you may have something here. You know, let me take this back to an investment group that I've been working with since college, and see if we can put together something and, you know, and really kick this thing off properly. So Ron gives me a call. I'm in New York. They're both in Cleveland. And Ron says, Kwame, how would you like to be in the cognac business? Now, I laugh because we've done real estate ventures. We've done healthcare ventures. We've done a lot of different things together, always had fun, always made money. So when Ron calls, you always listen. He says, cognac business. And I'm like, Ron, you don't even drink. How are you going to get me into the cognac business? And he's like, well, listen, he says, there's a brother that I've been working with. He has an idea for an entry into the cognac market. And I think if we put our team together, investment, and we put the right, you know, money and the right energy behind this thing, we might be able to do something. I'm shocked, but I don't want to miss the next Hennessy, the next what's the vodka that everybody drinks?
Ciroc.
Ciroc. I don't want to mix the next big thing, and all of a sudden my relatives and my kids are running around talking about something, and I'm saying, wow, you know what? I had an opportunity to be involved in that, and I didn't step out on faith, and I didn't get involved in it. So I says, you know what? If you think it's a good idea, I'm with it. You know, let's have a meeting. Let's figure out how we can make this thing happen, and let's go after it. And that's what we did. That was now from the time of the initial meeting in 2008. Ray doesn't actually sit down with Ron until about 2016 or 17, and we don't actually launch until 2018. But in that process, we had the opportunity. Well, Ray and Ron had the opportunity to sit down and meet with the Godet family, which is one of the premier cognac families of the cognac region in France. They were able to sit with the master blenders, pick out different flavor profiles and notes that they liked, and different qualities. They were able to actually get up to speed and educate themselves on what a VS is, what a VSOP is, what an XO is, you know, what those different designations mean.
So let's break some of that down for a second. The first thing I'd be interested in is, prior to this adventure, were you a cognac drinker?
Minimally, and minimally. I'm definitely a cigar guy. I've been a cigar guy 15 or so years now. My drinking was limited to whiskeys mainly, Crown, Jack, some Jamesons, you know, but only if I'm at a cigar bar.
So that was your go-to pairing, was primarily whiskeys.
Yeah, was definitely whiskeys. I was definitely not because the only time I'd ever drank cognac, it was either a Hennessy or Remy. And for me, Remy had a very, very sweet taste to it. It didn't set well with my palate. I didn't really enjoy it, so I stayed away from it. A buddy of mine who I worked with was heavy into the 1738. He loved Remy's. Another buddy of mine drank all the cognacs from the VS's all up to Hennessy's Pairings and Louis. And he often tried to get me to try it, buddy of mine. It was never really my thing. There was always almost a little too much bite. And when I finally got into the Louis and the XOs and the Pairings, I wasn't educated enough to even appreciate it at that point.
So now that you've gone through this, let's break this down a little. For those that may not be familiar with cognacs, I know cognac is a derivative of wine. It's a distilled Chardonnay, if I'm correct. All right, and then it's barrel aged like we do a whiskey. What distinguishes the various subsections of XO, VSO? Can you break this down for us on how brandies are actually created and what creates an XO?
It has to do with the aging process primarily. The three that people are most familiar with, of course, are the VSs, which are at least 2 years old, a VSOP, which is 2 to 5 years old, and an XO, which is at least 10 years old. Thus the Roman numeral X.
So the oldest brandies or oldest cognacs. So let me put it this way: what distinguishes a brandy from a cognac?
The region, the cognac region that they make it in, and of course they all have their own proprietary processes, but it's primarily the region. To be called a cognac, it has to be, like you said, the wine grape, and it has to be distilled and barreled in the cognac region of France. It can't be done, let's say, in Burgundy, and still be a cognac.
So it's like champagne. You can't call, unless you're in the United States and California, you can't call sparkling wine champagne unless it comes from France.
Exactly.
In the Champagne region, right?
Exactly. And that was the purpose for us choosing a master blender that had that provenance, they had that history, that we could actually make the investment and bring something into the country that had credibility. Okay. You know, it's not something that fell off of a truck someplace that we just slapped the label on and tried to run with. It's something that actually had the entire family 400 years of a process behind it.
So you've gone into a high-end space. So the competition there, what you're going into, is, because it's not a brandy, it's a cognac.
Yes.
The cognac drinkers are probably the connoisseurs that are like, this is what I drink. It's like, I only smoke this, I only drink that. How do you get them moving over to Rayon? And while I'm on that, also, if you can answer the question, where did the name Rayon come from?
Okay, so I'll deal with the name first, and then I'll deal with our strategy as to how we introduce it to our customers, and how we intend on keeping our customers and building that family. Rayon is a play on Ray Sean Low. our founder, his name, our symbol, that camel is for the perseverance that we're going to have to get into this business, maintaining this business, and actually be successful in this business. So our campaign, our marketing idea is, number one, quality. I'm an old guy from the phone industry. Years ago, I was trained and came up with AT&T. And at that time, one thing they taught us in training was everybody will compromise on price. Price is not where you want to make it with your customers. You want to make it with your customers on quality. And for us, if we chose something that we think that our taste and our focus group's taste is the absolute best, that when it hits their tongue, when it hits their palate, when it goes down and they have a chance to breathe it in and to taste it, and that it's going to resonate with them, and they're going to say, you know what, that was good. That wasn't what I expected at all. I didn't have any bite. I had wonderful fruit and caramel notes, and besides that, it was super, super smooth. You know, I think a lot of times what happens with people, because cognac is generally drunk straight, it's not something that a lot of people off the top mix. I mean, right now we have a bunch of different mixes on our menu, but a lot of the what I would call the people who really drink it, they drink it straight. And they want it to be full bodied, and they want it almost like a cigar. They want it to stand on its own. And once you taste Rayon, you know, the taste is amazing. It's smooth, and it's in its price point. There's nothing that can compete with it. Nothing.
What is the price point on Rayon XO?
It retails generally for about $170 a bottle.
Okay.
Of course, we have pricing. We have wholesale pricing for on and off premise, but in the average liquor store, it's $170.
So how does that compare? How does that compare to other high-end?
It's pretty much right in the middle. It's pretty much, you know, there's some that come in the 130s, 140s. There's some that come in the mid to low 200s. So we felt that we were positioned in a really good space.
Okay. Quinton, questions?
No questions. I've actually personally had an opportunity to taste the Rayon XO, and when you taste it right next to a Remy or a Hennessy, it is top tier with the best of the best. So they definitely don't cheat the client out of any of the tasted notes. It's not a budget drink by any means. However, it's just because you may not have necessarily heard of it at your local retailer or at your local bar, they definitely do it due diligence. It is a great product to have on the shelf.
In that premium space, what we've been doing in North Carolina, Charlotte specifically, in Atlanta, in the surrounding areas, Savannah, and all over Georgia, when we do these events, is I put it out there. I tell anybody, if you are a cognac drinker, whiskey drinker, dark spirit drinker, and you have your drink of choice, and you try Rayon, and if you can honestly tell me that you don't like it and you don't want to ever have it again, I'll buy you a drink of your choice. And so far, I've bought one drink in the last 2 years.
Nice.
You know, so we'll do blind taste testings. We will stand behind this product because it stands on its own.
How many stores are you in, liquor stores now in the United States, and where's your most concentration as far as region?
Well, our largest concentration is in that Southeast, mainly Atlanta, Georgia, and Atlanta specifically, because what we decided to do about 1.5 years ago, we initially rolled out New York and New Jersey. We went through Pennsylvania, Maryland, Florida, we're in California, and a couple other different states. But what we decided to do is, if we had to centralize and concentrate, because each state is different in terms of their ABC laws. So every state has different requirement. So you can't, if you're a new startup, you can't have the presence that the big boys have in every single city in every single state, because we just don't have the budget for that. But what we had to do was grow this thing organically, and we had to grow it with a purpose. And we decided to say, okay, you know what? When cognac initially came to the United States of America, it came with GIs returning from Europe, returning from France, returning from World War II. And part of that community, it became a very popular drink in the African American community in the Midwest, in Chicago, in Detroit, in New York, in a lot of those cities. And based on our research and the information that we were able to gather, we said, you know what, which city do we think that we can concentrate on, where we can, number one, sit down with decision makers immediately, number two, get feedback and impact our end user, our customers immediately. Where do we think we can do that? And it came back Atlanta. When we weighed everything out, it came back to go to Georgia and to go to Atlanta. So basically, it's right when COVID hit last, what was it, January?
Yeah.
I got the phone call that our paperwork had went through with the state liquor authority in Georgia, and that we had a distributor at that point, and we were in at least 2 stores, retail stores. And if I wanted to go down and be part of this marketing team to really introduce it to the rest of the city, and I said, sure, definitely. So I, packed up, drove down to Atlanta, set up, and right now, I could say off the top of my head, we're in over 40 different restaurants and bar locations, as well as liquor stores. So we're in the Towers, we're in all of the cigar bars, we're in what is that, Fellowship, we're in Cigar City Club, we're in off the top of my head, I have a list here I could read off if you give me a second.
Well,
we're in Monticello's, which has a cigar bar inside called Sticks. So we're in about 30 to 40 different places. We have a new relationship with one of the largest distributors in the country, RNC, and they have 80 to 100 reps that are attacking that city and getting us into many more different places. We run radio ads. We run a lot of programs online. We're doing. Most recently, we have an influencer program where if you're an influencer with like you with the internet show, we give you our own primary customary card, and that discount card is what you give to your listeners. As your listeners purchase Rayon, the influencer receives a commission and the customer receives a discount. Nice. And that way we build a community of people who want to take this journey with us.
So I live in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Where in Florida can I get Rayon XO?
Florida is going to be one of our next big markets. It's funny that you mentioned that. Right now, I'm in Clearwater, and I'm doing a little research, moving around Tampa, Clearwater, Orlando, trying to see and target the new places for our new program.
So you haven't been accepted by Florida alcohol?
Oh, we're licensed in Florida. We have a warehouse here called Gray. I believe the name is Greystoke.
Okay.
That's where we're currently warehoused. We also do mail order through our own website. So if you were to order via rayoncognac.com, it would either come directly through us or through Reserve Bar, and they would actually bring it to your door.
All right, so this is your website, so I can come in here and I can buy now Ship to the state, and you can ship to the state. Not all states allow
Yes.
you to ship to.
Not all the states allow, but we are licensed in Florida. So if you selected Florida, it would allow you to select that state, pick whether you want just one bottle, or you want a bottle that comes personally engraved, or you want a bottle with custom crystal glasses, sifters. Pardon me.
So if I buy now, it says, let's see. So, oh, here we go. All right. Oh, okay. So you can get these different quick 10% order. So I can come in here. So you can get a straight up bottle for $174. You can get glasses with it for $239, and a black owned cognac discovery collection. What is this?
That's a promotion that Reserve Bar was running for Black History Month.
Oh,
They
okay.
have a couple of different black owned spirits, and they bundled us together as a commemorative project.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm going to take a short break here and shout out the sponsors of the show. When we come back to this, what I'd like to do is dig a little more into cognac and cigars. You being a cigar guy, explain the best things to pair to, and how do we get somebody wanting to drink cognac who maybe never had cognac before? Where would they start? So let's let me just do a little shout out to the sponsors. So so today's show is brought to you by our friends at Rodriguez Cigars of Key West. Rodriguez Cigars is the oldest cigar manufacturer in the island of Key West, founded in 1984. Over the years, it has transitioned to other family members. The latest now has been doing cigars from Nicaragua. They have some of the finest blends you can find on the island. You can check out their Series 84 blend, which I have given high ratings to over the years. And if you have a chance to go down to Key West, don't forget to check out their cigar tour, where they will give you a complete tour of their processing, their factory, and how they roll cigars. And at the end, you'll be able to roll your own cigar, take with you. I think it's $15 for the tour. You can check it out if you're ever in Key West. Check out www.Rodriguez Cigars Key West. Today's show is also brought to you by Drew Estate.
Get ready, because Drew Estate is back better than ever, with a party so big that only the Lone Star State can contain it. Music, spirit, mouth-watering barbecue, cigars galore, and so much more. It'll be the most epic shindig there ever was. Barn Smoker presents Savage Feast, October 22nd at the South Fork Ranch, Dallas, Texas. Get your tickets now at barnsmoker.com.
If you haven't checked it out yet, you've never been to a Barn Smoker, check out the barnsmoker.com. They have them in Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, and Kentucky. And that one in Texas is going to be epic. It was a redo of what got canceled because of COVID last year. Check out barnsmoker.com. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Cigar Medics.
Before you light your next cigar, be sure to check out Cigar Medics, the makers of the patent-approved humidimeter. The humidimeter is a tool designed to display the relative humidity inside your cigar. With this device, there's no more guessing. Simply insert the probes into the foot or cap of your cigar, and you can instantly know if your cigar is ready to be smoked. Buy now on cigarmedics.com and see site for other cigar accessories. With the humidimeter, you'll know when to hold them and know when to smoke them.
And I can tell you, I've used this product all the time when I rotate my humidor. I always take them out and I check the humidity on the cigars as I move them from shelf to shelf. And I'll never smoke a cigar that's less than 64% on that reading. And it has proven to be effective for me. Check them out, www.cigarmedics.com. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Cigar Clowns. Cigar Clowns is a Facebook group that's on a journey to find the perfect cigar. Those cigars that they produce are one of a kind. When they're sold, they're sold. They come in small batches. You can check them out always on the Facebook group, Cigar Clowns. Those that have had these know what's going on. And I've been part of their panel now where they review cigars together to determine if there should be a Cigar Clowns band on the cigar. No cigar will get that band without that group giving it a thumbs up. And every cigar I've had from them, you can see the ratings on Stogie Press have been phenomenal. But once they're gone, they're gone. Small batches, great friends, great conversation. Check out Cigar Clowns on Facebook. And last, our show today is brought to you by Platinum Nova Cigars. Platinum Nova Cigars is a family-owned premium cigar company. Platinum Nova Cigars was founded through their grandfather, who was a master blender. And over the years, they have now wanted to pay tribute to that and created a brand called Platinum Nova Cigars. Platinum Nova Cigars is a modern cigar with old school roots. It's a premium, vintage, long-aged tobacco used in it. You can check out Platinum Nova at www.novacigar.com and on their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. So check out Platinum Nova and you will be pleased. Let's come back to Kwame. I want to thank my sponsors because without them, the show's always a little harder to do. So cigars and cognac. So once you started to really get into cognac, what cigars would you pair with cognac? I mean, would it be a Connecticut, a Maduro? Would it be bold, peppery? Would it be smooth and fruity? What is your view of that?
Well, I've definitely got to shout out one of our Atlanta partners, ATL Cigars. They have a cigar called the ATL Black, which is a full body Maduro. We've been going around the city doing different events, and that's a sensational smoke. It's a great stick, and I smoke that one often. Today, is such a great day. I'm celebrating, and I'm celebrating with a Cuban. And if my Spanish is not too bad, it is going to be Romeo and Julieta.
There you go. You said it right.
I was there in 2000 and let me see, 15, the 14, the 2000 Christmas of 2014 into 15, and I had the privilege of spending 2 weeks, and I came home with 10 boxes, and I'm still holding on to a few.
Nice.
So any day like a day like this where I'm really going to celebrate something, I break one out.
So that cigar, you would say, pairs very well with your Rayon XO.
Absolutely. Rayon is so smooth that if I'm with a Connecticut, a very light cigar, it'll pair with that. If I want something, a little more aggressive, and I can deal with the Maduro, a full-bodied cigar, it's the alcohol content and the taste is so good that it can pair with that as well. It's very, very versatile spirit, very versatile.
What is the alcohol content in cognac?
In ours, I believe we're 80 proof off the top of my head. I can check the photograph, but I believe we're 80 proof.
Okay. So that's smooth. Nice. Mm-hmm. And so you only have the XO right now.
That's it. That was our initial, and it was funny. So, Ron Jones, our CEO, is not a drinker at all. Ray is probably about as much as me or a little less. So when we were asking, like, why do we have to come in, at XO? Why can't we just tiptoe in at VS or VSOP? Why do we have to come in, And he said, based on the research, based on the numbers, that if we're going to do it, this is where we have to get it done. If we're going to be recognized, we can't be recognized and I don't want to downplay mom and pop store or a low end store, but we can't be We can't come in at the low end and expect to be heard because there's so much noise going on there in terms of new entries and old entries and just things flying around. If we want to be recognized quickly, we come in at the top end, and if we can get people to pay attention to us there, then we will have done something.
So an XO is how old?
At least 10 years old.
So 10 years old. So this is cognac that, were you part of the original blending of that cognac then? So this is.
Well, so the process is so wonderful because what they do is they bring you samples. You give them an idea of a profile that you're interested in, and they'll bring 20, 30 different samples for you to try, and then they narrow down those 20 or 30 samples, and you just get closer and closer and closer to the taste that you like. And then when you finally say, okay, you know what, this is it, then that's what they blend and put together for you.
So when they blend it, it goes into the barrel for 10 years.
No. These are already cognacs.
Oh, so they're taking, so help me understand. So they take different, they'll take, it's a blended cognac.
Yes. They take casks that they've had for 10 years that they produced independently themselves ahead of time, and you just go in and select the ones that you like, and they put those flavors together for you.
So very similar to when a lot of people go in and they want to create a new cigar. They walk into a factory, they get a tray of cigars that they're looking at. They'll try different ones. They'll say, I kind of like this one, but I like the boldness on that one. And, you know, and they'll start.
I like this ring gauge. I like that ring gauge. I'd like to smoke for a half hour in the nub. I'd like to smoke for an hour. I like to smoke for 2.5 hours with a big steelhead or gordita. You know, you tell them what you want to do, and they custom tailor make it for you.
Now, the difference between the cigar industry, or let's just say the tobacco industry for argument's sake, and the alcohol industry, you mentioned earlier that you have radio ads. Now, we in the cigar industry can't have radio ads. So you have a nice path to be able to get your name out there in print magazines, blogs, advertising. Can you advertise on TV also?
No, we haven't gotten to the television market yet.
Can you? Are you allowed to?
Are we allowed to? That's a good question for legal. I don't want to say yes or no. I think different states are different.
But you can advertise on radio like you're doing.
Yeah, radio. What we do is in Atlanta, what we did specifically is the venues that we're going to be featured at. So we come in as an alcohol sponsor for a musical act, and we'll sponsor, like we sponsored Ken Ford at Monticello's for 8 weeks. And with that sponsorship as the primary alcohol sponsor, they talk about the brand. They tell people that we'll be doing, we'll be featured there, we'll be on sale, we'll be doing tastings, and people can come in and actually have the Rayon experience.
Okay.
So we do a lot of musical artists. We do restaurants. We're in one of our favorite restaurants in Atlanta is Forks and Flavors. The two gentlemen, entrepreneurs there, who run a great place up in Kennesaw, and what they do is phenomenal, because they bring in a lot of small, new, fledgling spirits, and they give you a shot right there in their restaurant in front of their clientele.
Nice, very nice. Quinton, you must have some questions now. I'm sure you do. You always ask the hard ones,
So here's my big thing. So if we were to sit down and we were to have a blind taste test, right? Because last time I checked, there's the Rayon XO. You've got your Remy VSOP. I believe you also have a Remy Tressé, if I'm not mistaken. What would be the difference in the flavor profile if we were to have a blind taste in in your brand, right? Versus if we put a Remy XO and let's just say the Remy Tresse. What is the difference when we start talking about the different price points? Obviously,
for me, when it came to the Remy's, it was the sweetness.
Okay.
For me, the sweetness didn't sit well with my palate. It made for a lot of people. I have a very good friend, longtime friend. You know, he named his children Remy. He loves Remy. The sweetness is something that works for him. For me, it didn't work. For me, when it came to the Hennessy's, it didn't matter which one. They were a little too harsh. There's a little too much bite, and especially on the back of my tongue afterwards and going down. I didn't want the old man burn.
Right.
You know, I wanted something smooth. I wanted something that I could drink. If I wanted to put a little in my coffee in the morning, if I wanted to drink something after dinner, you know, with the cigar, I wanted something that was very, very, very universal. And for me, Rayon does that.
And you just brought up something really interesting. I years ago, I didn't drink a lot of cognac, but when I did, I always enjoyed Cavassier, VSOP. And I would take that and I would make, especially in the winter time when I lived up north, I would make what's called a Mexican coffee. Mexican coffee was cognac, Kahlua, and coffee topped with whipped cream. And that was just so warming and such a beautiful drink on a cool, cold winter night. All right, sitting around a fireplace. It was just perfect. Okay, and I would imagine it's perfect smoking a cigar. So you have a number of mixed drinks on your site. What are some of your favorite mixed drinks that use cognac?
Well, big and I have to give all the credit to my brother Douglas, who's a chef, and he's the one who came up with all of those mixed drinks. And for me, it was that sidecar. You know, the sidecar. The old fashioned was a close second. You know, but that sidecar. I think that was very unique. He added some smoke to it, some orange peel. He really went there with it.
Now that French Connection is also a great mixed drink to have that includes cognac, if I'm not mistaken. The French Connection is definitely one of my favorites to do if we're talking about our mixed cocktail drinks.
So you use so you brought up an old fashioned. So you can so basically substituting a lot of drinks that use a whiskey or a bourbon.
Yes.
Substitute it with cognac, and do you get a different? You must get a different profile out of that.
You know what? Because I really wasn't a huge whiskey drinker. Like I said, occasionally some Jamesons. I'm out of the ball game or something like that. Maybe some Jack. In my younger days, my cousins introduced me to Crown Royal. But you know, for me, if I had to say which whiskey that I thought Rayon most emulated, it would be an Irish whiskey. It'd be something like a Jameson's.
Okay. That's very interesting. With a cognac, it obviously goes in the barrels, but because a cognac is a little bit sweeter on the palate, would you still make a old fashioned with a sugar cube, or would we leave the sugar cube out considering the difference of the sweetness in a bourbon versus a cognac?
Well, because Rayon doesn't start out as sweet as some of the other cognacs, I think it can take a sugar cube. Yeah, it can. You could. Yeah, definitely can take the sugar cube.
Okay, that would be my biggest. Like if I were blending one up, depending on the cognac. Obviously, we're talking about the Rayon XO. but obviously,
Yeah.
you know,
I
Remy
think
is real sweet.
I think where he does a unique thing is when he adds the smoke to it.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, when he adds the smoke to it. You know, Doug is an artist, you know, and he's always creating different things.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now I noticed you were smoking something right there.
Oh yeah.
What is your smoke of the night? What do you have lit up?
Romeo and Julieta.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a Romeo and
straight-
Julieta Cuban that he has. in there.
Cuban, straight from Havana.
The real deal.
The real deal Holyfield. Yep.
That's it. That's
Speaking of Holyfield, when you got that cigar lit, you kind of look like a Vander with that side profile a little bit. I mean, if we
How's my ear?
you got the full ear. That's the only
Okay.
thing that makes you that distinguishes you and Evander.
Listen, he was
got
one
one
of my
missing.
favorite fighters of all time. I loved him as a light heavyweight, loved him as a cruiserweight, loved him as a heavyweight. One of my favorite fighters of all time. And he's an Atlanta guy, you know, born and raised.
Yep. I was a big Evander Holyfield guy myself too. I enjoyed watching him fight. Absolutely.
Yeah, he took you back. You know, he and I have to give credit to Mike as well. You know, not a lot of glitz and not a lot of pomp and circumstances. You know, just a pair of trunks, pair of gloves, pair of shoes. Let's get it on.
I love it.
Now, Boston Jimmie, you kind of favor Evander Holyfield, but just on the lighter side of the family.
Hey, hold on. You keep saying Boston. He's got that Red Sox hat on. You know I'm a Yankee fan, right?
Well, hold on. You got to hold that thought because, all right, I'm going to take one more break. I'm going to do what was new in news and reviews on Stogie Press. And when we come back, we're going to get into the lightning round. And yes, we're going to talk sports because I know you are a Yankee fan. So let's hold that thought and have some fun in just a moment. So this week on, oh, Jesus, hold on a second. I might do this to myself. All right. Because I'm having so much fun here tonight. I'm only using one screen tonight, so I have to find my stuff, unfortunately. All right, so this week on Stogie Press. So let's talk about reviews. Had a couple of reviews done this week. The first one was a company called Never Ash. So Never Ash Cigars. It's a small company. Move this out of the way. So a small company. This cigar came in at an 86. Now, believe it or not, this is a San Andreas wrapper. I know. Doesn't look like a San Andreas. Didn't look like a San Andreas to me, but they told me that this comes directly from Mexico. It's a light San Andreas. Doesn't have really any tooth to it. It's a very smooth, satiny smooth feel to it. It's a box press torpedo.
Wow.
They didn't explain the factory where it came from. These are $11.50. They come in a box count of 20. So it's a San Andreas grown in Mexico. It's a Sumatra binder. So you're getting some sweetness in there. And then you're getting also a Dominican Republic filler. The flavor profile out of this, there were definitely some bitter notes I was getting from it. There was some butter and cedar. There was earth. I had that natural sweetness coming in, pepper, spice, syrupy with the sweetness. There was a tangy note, a tarry note, and a woody note. You can already see why it's getting to be an 86. So from a perspective of the burn was okay. And a little off burn there coming down. Had to do a little touch up thing. Kind of cleaned itself up in the second. Coming down, the ash line got nice. But the real problem I found with this cigar was it had this lingering bitter tang to it, which just kind of threw my palate off. And it had these excessive tar notes near the end. And it just kind of was unbalanced through the last 2/3. So this came in at an 86. The second one we did, which is off the chart is the Espinoza Knuckle Sandwich Maduro. Knuckle Sandwich, if you don't know the story, this is a collaboration with Guy Fieri, Espinoza Cigars, and AJ Fernandez at his San Lantano factory. Coming in the 97, this is a magnificent cigar. This right here is an Ecuadorian Sumatra Maduro. So you could just think about the fact that it's a Sumatra itself gives you sweetness, and the Maduro just pops those sugary notes for you. It has a Nicaraguan binder and a filler. I was getting caramel and cocoa, floral and fruit, and mint, natural sweetness, some nut aromas. There was an orange zest in this, okay, that came in. It was just absolutely pleasing. Some pepper and some savory spice. This thing took me on a journey that I have to say not every cigar does. It comes also in Habano. I've still yet to review the Habano, but it comes in 3 different Vitolas, a Corona Gorda, a Robusto, and a Toro. By the way, the letters here represent significant people in Guy Fieri's life. So he's given tribute to friends and people that he's known over his life with the names. Absolutely beautiful looking cigar, beautifully rolled, unbunched. I got this floral and spice right off the barrel. Just gets me going with the cocoa and nut off the foot. Just had me chomping, wanted to like just chew on this thing for a while. The cold draw is giving me chocolate and pepper and this natural, very mild natural sweetness coming in. The burn, absolutely beautiful burn. Beautiful burn cone, pick back up, absolutely spectacular all the way down to the nub. I absolutely enjoyed this cigar. It was an hour and 15-minute smoke. There are no point deductions on this. They only get bonus points. At an even burn, you got to buy a box of these. And this was pleasant across multiple samples that I smoked. So definitely out of the ballpark. Congratulations to Guy Fieri and Espinoza Cigars, and of course AJ Fernandez for doing a phenomenal job on this cigar. News-wise, we had some news articles. So Hoya de Nicaragua and the Cigar Dojo have re-released their Hoya Ninjaragua. So they've done another release of this one. This was such a big hit for them that they decided to do it again. Fuerte y Libre cigars. You've heard me talk about them a couple, 3 years ago. They've come out and they've announced an extension to their Sun Country cigar. Let me just open that up for 1 second. Their Sun Country cigar is a Ecuadorian shade wrapper with a double Dominican Ligero and aged Dominican fillers, and it uses a Mexican San Andreas wrapper leaf. They added this in to just amp it up a little bit. This is a full-body, full-strength core, they say. They've gotten absolute positive customer feedback on it, so you can check this cigar out when it starts to hit the shelves. Our friends over at I always get this name wrong, Post-Peak Cigars. They've released something called the Bdp Cigar. Mike Palmer is the owner of the company, and he's also connected up with one of the local cigar manufacturers here in Central Florida, Cordoba and Morales. They worked a lot before with cigars for Florida Cigar Club, but they released this one together. This one here is a very interesting cigar. Okay, I'm looking forward to try this. The fillers and the binders come from the small Micronesia island of Nauru, which is about northeast of Australia, and the wrapper is a sun-grown source from the Greek islands. They call it a Hyperborean sun-grown, and it comes out of the Greek islands. So this is some unique tobacco they found to use.
Wow.
So this is, you can actually get these starting April 15th at the Cigar Hustler here in Deltona, Florida, who Mike is part of. You got to, I really want to check this cigar out. It just sounds quite interesting. I love the construction of it, just looking at the sample that you see in the picture. So this is something to keep your eyeballs on. Drew Estate announced the limited edition cigar, the Smoke Inn's 25th anniversary. So Smoke Inn's doing their 25-year anniversary. This particular cigar here is going to be a special Herrera Esteli that is called the Raji, and it's celebrating that 25 years of Smoke Inn. So those are going to be going on sale very shortly. You can check those out. They expect these to be on their website at smokein.com. And we also have put out the previous Taking the Nub episode. So if you go to the Stogie Press channel on YouTube, you can check out the previous past Nub channels on Art Garcia and Lampere Cigars. I will have the one from last week, Bocock Cigars, on when I get home tomorrow. I'll have that out there. So those are the news and reviews on Stogie Press. Let's get back to Kwame, and let's do our lightning round. But we'll start it off with, because you already broke the ice, Yankees Red Sox. We're back in baseball, baby. Did you love that game yesterday? Was that not the perfect way to start a season with an extra inning game between these two rivals of baseball?
I wasn't fortunate enough to see it, and I was on a fishing boat. Like I said, I'm here in Florida, so I take advantage of as much fishing as possible. But I'm sure it was wonderful.
It was amazing. I mean, home runs as you expect. Pitching, going through numerous pitches. They went through 11 innings. The only thing I don't like is, and I haven't liked it since last year, the stupidity of putting the guy on second base in extra innings. This is baseball. The book was written 100+ years ago. Extra innings is extra innings. You just keep playing the game until somebody wins. Don't put somebody on second base. What do you think about that, Kwame?
I think it's horrible. And in the era that I'm a 60s guy, so I believe in manufacturing runs. I was a big fan of Tony La Russa, and I was a big fan of the Big Red Machine, and how, you know, if Ozzie got on second base, the game was over.
Yeah. Exactly. So why put him on second base?
I think that's suicide to put somebody on second base, because it's not going to happen. Good team's going to bring that run home, and it's going to be over.
Get them on, get them home. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in extra innings, you try to play a little bit more small ball to just win that game.
Yep.
And I think they messed the game up. I think it messes up the statistics of the game, because you can't look at the game the same anymore. It's just
no. It definitely puts an asterisk next to any game that's played in that fashion. It's like you said. It's, if you're a purist, if you've been following this thing, I mean, all of a sudden now we're going to put a guy on. So why not just put a guy on third?
Exactly. Now, let me ask you another question. I don't know if you paid enough attention to what's going on in 2022 in the MLB, but the Yankees used it, the Red Sox did it. So now they have a new device. All right. So the catcher has a device that he can have on his arm or on his leg, and he can type in what the pitch is. Instead of doing signals, old school, they can type it in.
Yeah.
And they can say, I want a fastball to the left, I want a curveball, I want this.
Yeah.
So the Yankees using this, okay, and what happens is it gets transmitted to a in the hat where the guy can hear the call, and it can be done in different languages, right? So if you got a Japanese pitcher, or you got a Spanish pitcher, and you want to talk their language, it tells them. The second baseman, a couple outfielders get the same thing, so that you know what pitch is coming. So the whole idea is not to steal the signs. It's technology.
That's part of baseball.
It's
part of baseball.
This is what we do,
part
right?
of baseball.
Thank you. I mean, And it was weird to watch it because you saw the catcher for the Yankees is like, he's got his glove over the top of his little device on his leg and he's punching numbers in. And the Red Sox are like, no.
The catcher is the coach on the field because he's the catcher, because he can call those pitches, because he knows the pitchers, because he can orchestrate and dictate a game from behind home plate. That's why he's the catcher.
Exactly. He's the guy that rules the game. I mean, I was just watching. This is the time of the year, beginning of the season, when you get on TV. They have all the cool old baseball movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching the Durham Bulls movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie, right? Kevin Costner and stuff. And I just love the fact that, they get to that point when they're losing and he's going to the pitcher. He's saying, just listen to me. I will tell you what this guy can and cannot hit. And I'm going to tell you where to throw it and just do it. And so he starts to do it and they start winning. You all know the movie. But then I love the point in those points in the movie where he's like, no, he's shaking him off. He's like, okay, you want to throw the heat? And he goes back and tells the batter, you're getting the heat. The guy knocks it out of the ballpark. He says, what'd you do? I told him you were throwing a fastball. I told you not to throw the fastball. The guy knows how to hit a fastball. And that's what catchers do. You're right. That's exactly what it's about.
They bring young pitchers along. They educate them. They work in concert with seasoned pitchers. I mean, you don't take that out of the game. That's horrible.
No. So this whole thing, it's going to be a thing.
I've still got a Thurman Munson baseball card that I bought in 1974 or 5 in my mom's house.
Wow. I had a lot of baseball cards like that when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a lot of my baseball cards ended up on bicycle wheels.
Of course. Of course. Tops. Remember Tops?
Yes. Tops baseball cards with the most terrible tasting sweet gum in the world.
With that stale, petrified gum from 7 years ago.
Absolutely. And I remember when my mother finally passed away, my brothers and I said, we really should tear up the floorboards in the attic, because I swear, because we used to flip cards in the attic with friends, and there was spots I know they fell down in there, and I said we should tear up the boards because we might find there might be a Mickey Mantle
because there's a Nolan Ryan rookie card in that floor.
I mean, there's something down in there, and it's like, and they didn't want to do it.
Your Collier Shrimpsey rookie card is behind that radiator.
That's but we never found any cards, and I was just like, whatever. So what do you so you obviously like cognac now because you sell it. You like baseball. What do you like? What are you streaming anything these days? Are you got any shows that you're really addicted to?
I'm like I said, I watch Major League Fishing. If most of my days are spent around fishing.
So is there any cool series on fishing that are like dramatic, these drama shows that they show?
Not necessarily, but because the digital universe is taking over, there's a guy that I've been following recently. He's a bass fisherman, and his name is Brian Latimer, and he has a very interactive, very personal show that he takes you into his garage with his boats. He's tying gear, rigs, rods. He's talking about reels and gear ratios, and you get out on his bass boat, and he's setting the hooks, and he's picking up big 5-6 pound largemouth bass. It's wonderful.
So what's the biggest fish you ever hooked?
Hooked or landed?
Okay, let's say both. So give me one and the
okay.
other.
So
the one that got away and the one you landed.
The largest fish that I've ever landed is a 7-foot hammerhead that I caught off of a wreck in Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
And it was next to the birth of my children, the most exhilarating thing that had ever happened, because I was in the chair fighting this thing for easily an hour.
Yep.
Easily an hour. It was amazing. Most recently, I was down in Dominican Republic, and I had the privilege of landing 5 mahis.
Nice.
Doing some trolling. It was wonderful.
So when you hooked the hammerhead, were you fishing for shark or were you fishing for snapper?
No, we were just bottom fishing. We were just jigging.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the alert trips, and it runs out. And then all of a sudden, we're like, wow, what is that? And like, I don't know. And the guy's like, well, get in the chair. They strap you in.
Oh,
and
yeah.
when my shoulders started to burn, they're like, you got a shark. You got a shark.
That happened to me we were fishing, doing bottom fishing, and we were fishing for snapper in like 100-foot water. And something hit the line and it did the same thing. I got in the chair and I'm battling this thing for like you said, not quite an hour, probably 40 minutes.
Maybe a Goliath grouper or something.
Oh, no. I finally get this thing up to the boat and it's a 200-pound bull shark.
Wow.
Right. And of course you're not taking it in. And then,
the
mate looks at me, goes, you got to cut the line and let it go. And I was like, it's a 4-hour trip. And I spent 40 minutes hooking this thing. And it's like, oh man, I can't bring it in. I'm going to tell you right now, you talk about the burn in the shoulder. 2 weeks later, I couldn't lift my arm up higher than this. I ended up getting shoulder surgery.
A torn rotator cuff.
Exactly. I had to get rotator cuff surgery done on my shoulder. That's my fishing story. So you love fishing.
Love it. I think about it morning, noon, and night. If I can't get to salt water, I'll go to fresh water.
So when you bring the fish into the boat and you get back to the dock, this is something I do. You get back to the dock and the mate's cutting it all up and cleaning it for you, whatever. I start taking the fish and start eating that raw fish right there, like sushi. Yeah, just give me that fish.
Really?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yellowtail tuna. I mean, there's certain fish that I can do that with. You can do it with a yellowtail. You can do it with tuna. You can do it with certain fish.
We do. I do snapper.
I got a buddy. Snapper. He always brings soy sauce and wasabi on the boat, all the time. That's one thing I can't wait to get back to New York because blackfish season just started. In New York, so I can't wait to get back.
That's fantastic. You go out in the Sound or you go out in the
both.
Oh, yeah. Both. Yeah. Yeah, I used to go out in the Sound with my great uncle years ago, and we would always have a great time.
Go out to Montauk, out to Block Island. We go into the ocean. I do them all.
Fantastic. Quinton, question.
Yeah, I'm hopefully I'll be up in Nantucket by October.
There you go. That's a fun place to go fishing.
You guys are talking above my pay grade. I don't get out on the boat and do too much fishing. My dad was a huge fisher, but I tend to stay on land. If there's a fish out there that's damn near bigger than me, I don't want to pull that thing in the boat. I don't want nothing to do with that. So I'll bring the cigars. If y'all want to sponsor a fishing trip, I'll be in charge of cigars and liquor, and I'll watch y'all fish until y'all can't lift y'all damn shoulders anymore. I'll be the one providing the jokes, smokes, and the liquor. I'm not reeling in any big ass fish.
Oh man, I do enjoy it. I don't do it enough. I'm nowhere near Kwame's level, but when I get out in a boat and I'm fishing, I do enjoy fishing. I love it when you feel that line move and you're like, and you're fighting this thing. And I'll tell you what, even a simple snapper could put up a fight.
Yeah. It's electric. It's electric. Last night, I was at Skyway Pier, and there were not mutton snappers coming up, vermilion snappers coming up, and mangroves coming up.
See, I don't even know what y'all are talking about. That we could actually be talking about a cigar right now, and I'd be like, "Yo, you smoked that mangrove?"
Well, I tell you a funny cigar story. So, 2000
In 2 miles, take exit 260 CBA for
One.
I-4 west toward Orlando.
2002, I had my first cigar of my life. I had a security company, and we dealt with a lot of entertainment acts. And one of the artists that we dealt with was on Death Row Records. So the CEO of that time, Suge Knight of Death Row Records, big cigar guy, sent us 3 boxes of course, Romeo and Julietas, and that was the first cigar that I'd ever smoked in my life. Subsequently, he sent us some Trinidad cigars from Cuba, and that was the second cigar that I ever smoked in my life. So I started with the good stuff, and I'm going to continue.
Yeah, well, it's if you're getting legit Cubans, especially the old school Cubans back in the day. You know, I know I was years ago. I lived in Germany for a while, and I would always go to a Casa del Habano's house and smoke Cubans all the time. And like I would say that the best cigar I ever smoked in my life was a Don Alessandro Vegas Robania. Okay, the one the old man himself rolled before he passed away. That thing was a 3-hour smoke, and it was nothing but the whole flavor wheel just transitioning and balanced. And that, of course, matched up with some aged Cuban rum. It was just, I told the folks in the lounge in German, I said, this is cigar in Himmel, which means cigar heaven. I'm like, this is just unbelievable. And when I came back, I remember walking into a shop, my friend's shop, and I used to really enjoy like the Fuente Chateaus. I mean, that was just one of my go-to cigars. And I got one of those out of the humidor, and I fired it up, and I said, what did Fuente do to this cigar, man? It's not the same. And he goes, nothing wrong with the cigar, Jim. Your palate's completely changed.
It changes.
Smoking Cubans for a year.
Yeah.
Legit Cubans,
as you grow in it, it changes. It changes a lot.
Yeah. And then I saw the change of it. Then I had gone back a few times after that. And over the last, I'd say 5 to 8 years, things have changed, unfortunately, in the Cuban market, right? I mean, you get a box of cigars now, and you gotta find 2 or 3 or 4 plugged ones. The quality's gone like this.
Yeah, and you got to think of what they're doing in Nicaragua, Dominican Republic. I mean, with Cuban seeds and the playing field. You know, these growers and people moving around. The playing field is changing.
Yeah,
you know, it's changing. It's a new era. It's this digital age. You know, transportation. People can actually move around. I mean, there's a cigar that I tried recently called a Plasencia. It was an out of body experience.
And think about the Plasencia family has been growing tobacco for a very long time down there, and they've been selling that tobacco to brands across the board, and they started to create their own cigars, and they've been hitting it out of the ballpark because they have
I think it's called the Octagon.
Yes, the Octagon.
Absolutely, just amazing. Amazing.
Yep.
And whenever you go to buy a box, they're always sold out. They're so good.
That's what happens when you get something really good, and hopefully
something special.
Hopefully I'll eventually be able to go to Total Wines and Spirits here in Florida to go buy some Rayon XO, and it'll be sold out.
All right. Hopefully so. That's the plan. What part of Florida are you in now?
I live in Melbourne, Florida, on the East Coast.
Okay. All right. I know it.
Yeah, just east of Orlando. So.
I was fishing in Cocoa, but I was at a place called Orange City recently.
Up in Jacksonville area or Orange?
No, Orange City was off of Route.
Oh yeah, Orange City. Yeah.
Off Route 4.
Yeah,
towards I think it's like towards towards like Deltona in that area.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to go to a cool shop in Deltona, you got to go to Cigar Hustler.
You know what? Why don't in about a week or two, I'll make sure to throw some Rayon in the truck, and I'll come over there and I'll meet you. You know, and we'll burn a couple down and sip some Rayon.
I got a couple of cool places over by me too. So yeah,
Okay.
just let me know and we'll just meet up for sure.
Okay. Excellent.
As long as the schedules work, we're good.
Excellent. Well, as long as there's no fishing boats going out, I'm available.
Hey, maybe we just charter a boat someday and take a day off and go fishing. It's a lot better than
Exactly.
Do you golf?
No, that's Ron. Ron's the golfer.
All right.
Ron's the golfer. I'd probably go next to one of the water traps and take out a fishing rod out of my bag.
Very good. You're probably like me. I lose 17 balls in 18 holes. You know.
Nah, I'm a great guy in the clubhouse, you know, but out there, when I get to the second or the third hole, I'm ready to turn around.
That's it. All right, so we're well beyond the hour. We started a little late, but it's all good. Kwame, it has been a pleasure having you on, learning about your product. I hope the viewers now and those that are watching later check out Rayon XO. If you like cognac, I'm not going to vouch for it, but my co-host here, Quinton, says you got to try it. So I can't wait to get my palate on it. I'm going to give you the last word, Kwame.
Well, I say this, we'll do a part 2 after we've had a time to sit down and drink a few and smoke a few, and then you'll let the viewers know how good it is.
All right. I got you. I'll hold you to that.
All right.
Sure. Quinton, any last comments?
No, you guys, please ask for these brands, Rayon XO. It obviously supporting the little guy counts. You know, obviously there's a huge market for cognac out there, but if we can support the guy next to you and you know, put a little extra money in his pocket, I definitely vouch for that. Just on the sense of making sure that we're looking out for each other. You know, Remy's been around for a little while. He's got enough money.
Keep it with the little guy. I agree with that. Okay.
We all start someplace. All start someplace.
Everybody started somewhere. Fuente started somewhere. AJ started somewhere. Everybody has a beginning, and it's all up to them to make their brand be the one you want. So I wish you the best of luck with this. I think it's fabulous that we have something new coming out in the liquor market, and I can't wait to put my lips on it for sure.
Hey guys, thank you for having us, enjoying the Rayon experience, and we can't wait to come back and talk about this some more.
All right. So with that, I'm going to call the show. I want to thank all the viewers and, of course, all my sponsors. Without them, the show is always a little harder to do. With that, this is Boston Jimmie out. Stogie Press, peace. You'll have a great weekend. And, hey, watch some more baseball.
All right. Go Yankees.
Yeah, go Red Sox.
Go Cubs.